What's up, y'all? Welcome back for another Breaking Bad boxing preview and prediction. This week, we have Arslanbek Makhmudov versus David Allen, a heavyweight clash going down in the UK. You have David Allen, 24 wins, 7 losses, 2 draws. Of those 24 wins, 19 coming by way of knockout. 33 years old, English fighter, going against Arslanbek Makhmudov, 36 years old, 22 wins, 19 of those wins coming by way of knockout. 2 losses, both those losses coming by way of knockout. So you have here in this case a very interesting style clash. You have a towering heavyweight in Arslanbek Makhmudov, who really is a short burst fighter, really is a fighter that, as I'm going to get into the tape study with, really only has about 4 rounds, in my personal opinion, against David Allen, someone that didn't really seem to take the boxing game overly too seriously. As we know, has had issues with gambling and addiction. He seems to get his life on track. He definitely has seemed to lock in over his last 2 fights versus Johnny Fisher. And more than anything, man, he looks like he's in great shape when you go to his social medias, when you go to see really just how he looks. It seems like he's taking the fight game very seriously. And I love seeing fighters take the fight game seriously. Arslanbek is 36 years old. This is really going to be his last chance at a really big fight and big payday, in my personal opinion. So I think it's must-win territory for both fighters as well, because David Allen, I think, would have retired if he would have lost to Johnny Fisher, either one of those last 2 fights. So interesting to note here going both ways. With that being said, like, share, comment, subscribe. Let's get into the tape of Arslanbek Makhmudov. Arslanbek, let's talk about the Ajit Kayabel fight. We got Ajit Kayabel at plus 220. One of the first ever Twitter plays I've ever given out was the Ajit Kayabel over Arslanbek. So Arslanbek, he has heavy hands. Even when his shots are blocked, he pushes people around, but he also has heavy feet to match with those heavy hands. Stands at a long, wide base, which I find very interesting for how much pop that he has. Throws himself off balance and he overcommits to multiple shots. He has a really skilled rear uppercut. It's very underrated. Doesn't throw it very often. That could be due to gas tank issues. But when he does throw it, it has some pop to it and it has some accuracy. His jab lumbers, it stays in the air for way too long, allows fighters to get under that jab and pop to the body. He himself has a good jab that can be followed by a sweeping right hand. I don't want to say good jab, but when he does stab it and throw it out there, it definitely has some pop to it. He prefers to follow up his jab with his overhand right, but he has a little bit of variation with the sweeping hands. Mach, he doesn't really have a motor, holds the center, likes to allow you to circle. Ajit Kayabel really just worked the perfect game plan. Circle away from that right hand, continuously probe on the body, and essentially try to make Mach chase you for a round or 2. And then he started working the body and breaking him down slowly. It was really the blueprint on how to beat him is broken down. And we're going to see that the same thing in the Guido Vianello fight. We're going to talk about David Allen and see if he has the same exact arsenal to match that game plan is what it's going to come down to. I think Makhmudov's best 2 weapons easily came in round 2 at 21 seconds. He lands the rear uppercut followed by a sweeping left hook. And it was really one of the only moments that Mach had in this fight against Ajit Kayabel. Ajit Kayabel is very high level. If you were to go and step into a heavyweight title fight right now with any, I say any, like there's anyone else, with Usyk, as we know, he's going to fight Nelson Heisa next. But if you were to go and step into a heavyweight title fight right now, no one even complain about it because he deserves it. The one thing about Makhmudov is he never throws in combinations. It's always single shots or 2 shots. Like you never see a combination extend longer than 2 with him. And if you see a 3-punch combination extended, he overcommits and he crowds his own work. After round 2, the right hand by Ajit could not miss, whether that was up top or to the body. He got his body beat up really bad against Ajit Kayabel. He's the best heavyweight body puncher there is, but I think it is important to note because Dave Allen does have a little bit of body punching to his arsenal. By round 3, Makhmudov was a punching bag. He looked at the clock with 40 seconds left in round 3. It's just horrible signs, man. He was throwing single counter shots that were winging and missing. He does a lot of windmill where he throws a lot of windmill punches. So let's talk about Arslanbek's second round knockout versus Miljan Rafkin. It was a tiny ring. They were fighting in a shoebox. That's very important to note. Arslanbek needed to take 3 steps from one end of the ring to the next. He consistently lost his feet with the jab, but he threw the jab very early and he threw it often. He was caught with a straight left a minute into round 1 by Makhmudov. Fights with a twitch, as we know. He kind of twitches his head. It makes it look like he has some head movement, but he's very stationary. His head and his upper body are very stationary, always on a line. So don't let the twitch fool you for head movement. He has a little bit more knee bend and a little bit more level changes in this fight as we compare to see against Ajit. Maybe he was scared of Ajit throwing the uppercut underneath with the knee bend at level. Maybe he didn't really respect Miljan whatsoever. But in this fight, we actually saw him bend his knees, bend his level, try to punch at different levels and different angles. In round one, there was a comical knockdown, man. It was comical. He throws a chopping right hand down, followed by a sweeping left hand to a right hook, and Miljan gets thrown out of the ring in between the ropes. He damn near fall. He doesn't fall exactly out of the ring. He catches himself before he hits the ground, but dude, it was comical. It looked like some Looney Tune shit. When Miljan gets up, though, he catches Mach with his own right hand, and it stiffens Mach's legs. So he goes in for the kill, opens himself up wide, and Miljan cracks him with a stiff right hand, and then his legs go stiff, and it causes him to hold and clinch for a minute. We showed how open Mach was to the counter in this Miljan fight, and he fights really defensively void in general. He just trusts his power so much in his berserker forward style. I don't even want to say berserker because he doesn't throw up that much volume, but he just walks you forward like a fridge and puts the power and heavy punches on you. Overcommits to his sweeping shots. The stoppage came in the second round with a 1-2 followed by a chopping right hand. I do like his chopping down right hand. When he's punching down, I think he can punch down with a lot of strength. David Allen will be the shorter fighter in this case, and we'll have a little bit of a height disadvantage, so it will be a little bit easier to punch down. Guys, Makhmudov versus Guido Vianello, you couldn't pay me. You couldn't send me money to watch that fight again. Literally the shortest bit of tape I've ever had for a fight. So let's just run through these notes here. When Mach committed, he was covering ground decently well, especially with his sweeping shots. In round two, he blitzed with a 2-3, and it actually forced Guido Canelo to clinch up with him because he was slightly hurt. Maybe not buzz, but he definitely felt the power. Guido's blitzes were troubling Makhmudov from the moment of go. Makhmudov doesn't have any feet. The rear uppercut was stabbing him all night. Guido Gianello's stabbing jab to the body was an issue, to say the least. And he stopped moving his feet after round 4. The one thing I want to say is he seemed a little bit tough and gritty in this fight for the fact that he could even last 8 rounds with Guido, who, again, is not a puncher. But, dude, Makhmudov's eye was busted to hell. The doctor stopped him and saved him. And there was also a knockdown in round 7 that wasn't counted to as well. So what do I like about Mach? Against Ricardo Brown, we saw a great overhand right that smoked him. He's powerful as hell. He's a great hammer. He's really good when he comes forward and covers distance. He has a strong sweeping left hand, strong rear uppercut. The rear uppercut we saw against Akpajori, that stopped Akpajori, was absolutely devastating. His left hand is solid early, and he has great, strong chopping shots. What do I dislike about him? Well, he lacks fundamentals. He throws single shots. He's defensively void. He's set up void. He's a predictable fighter. He windmills his shots. Does he have equalizing power like the greatest power punchers of all time? I'm not sure that he does necessarily. His gas tank is absolutely horrible. He may be one of the most technically bad fighters I've ever taped of any ranked or rated heavyweight. And his gas tank it's not suspect. It's horrible. There's no question about it. He loses his shape and cardio after round 3, and there hasn't been a fight that I've seen that he hasn't lost his shape after round 3. If you guys can find me a fight that he doesn't lose his shape after round 3 that has any semblance of a pace, please let me know. Let's talk about David Allen. David Allen here. First fight against Johnny Fisher. The first thing I noticed against Johnny Fisher is he was so willing to circle into Johnny Fisher's right hand early and often. And that could be a big problem against someone like Makhmudov. Makhmudov has a hammer of a right hand, as we know. And the game plan and the blueprint is there, as we saw with Guido Vianello and Ajit Kayabel. Circle to the right, away from his right hand, stab jab the body, keep the pace up, or keep the pace low for the first 2 rounds, and then you pick up the pace gradually as it goes on. I don't necessarily know if that's David Allen's game plan or in his arsenal. So let's talk about the tape again. David likes to fight behind a high guard, but he can roll punches and he takes a lot of grit off the shots. He has a little bit of hand fighting too as well that I love. In round 2 at 10 minutes and 10 seconds, he hand fights with Fisher, stab jabs, pauses, feints the level, and then follows up with an overhand right. And the feint of the level that he does, he kept following up the jab with it. So it was a good setup as compared to throwing the jab in this final step that he threw the overhand right with it. And it definitely gave Fisher some problems, made him push back too as well. He almost checked out in the first minute and a half of this round, as we saw him do against Frazier Clark multiple times. He continuously checked out and looked to the ref like, hey, what's going on here? And Frazier grazed him with a chopping right hand. And as I brought up with Makhmudov, the chopping right hand is a very powerful weapon for Makhmudov. So David Allen cannot check out in this fight, cannot be checking to the ref, because if he gets caught with something, he's going to go out. I don't want to say he's going to go out because he has a hell of a chin, hasn't necessarily touched the canvas for any of the tape that I've seen, but Makhmudov does have that power. I feel Dave Allen has a good process in the way that he builds in the fight, builds with his jab. the way he sets up his feet here. In the first fight, you saw that he had some angle issues with Johnny Fisher, wasn't cutting off the ring great, wasn't able to step on his toes. But in the second fight, you saw an amazing fight over fight improvement. Dave Allen was cutting off the ring the whole fight, stepping on his toes. And we'll talk about the finishing sequence in the second fight that had to do with stepping on his toes. Not literally, but that's the boxing term of getting inside. So he holds his feet and he can lose his balance over his hips, which can leave you susceptible to uppercuts, David Allen does. But himself, he has good stab jabs to the body, heavy hooks to the body when he commits to them, even though he doesn't necessarily throw them a lot. Great veteran tactics on David Allen. He loves to collar tie. He loves to hold a heavy clinch, loves to hang on your shoulders. And then when he breaks off the collar tie and the heavy clinches, he likes to throw left hooks, likes to bang out your eardrums. Really nice veteran tactics. He'll also use the collar tie itself to pull you down and throw you into body shots and uppercuts. We saw it against Johnny Fisher quite a few times. Lateral movement isn't a huge part of Allen's game, which again, for the game plan against Arslanbek, you should have lateral movement. So I hope he's in the gym working on that lateral movement specifically. In round 6, the left hook could not miss for Dave Allen. He was smacking Johnny Fisher early and often from round 6 on. I shouldn't say early, but often from round 6 on. Ultimately, Allen doesn't have amazing cardio, but he has a good enough pace, pressure, stalking, and marauding style to go forward for 10 rounds. And I think he can do it for 12 rounds, especially against a super low volume fighter like Makhmudov. All right. So Fisher and Johnny Allen too. As I noted, he held the foot position way better in this fight. Held the foot outside, held the foot inside when he needed to throw the right hand, held the foot inside when he needed to throw the left hand, stepped on his toes to get on the inside. And when he got on the inside, he committed to the body far more often here. I think he respected Fisher a little bit more in this fight because he was also far more reactive to Fisher's feints, which in the first fight, we didn't see him reacting to many feints. Dave hand feinted and stuttered Fisher in this fight, which I thought was really nice because it caused Fisher to reset multiple times. And Arslanbek is somebody that isn't necessarily reactive to feints, but can be reset. Dave Allen controlled the ring and the range in this fight, consistently pushed Fisher back to the ropes, also consistently pulled himself out of issues anytime Fisher would commit himself. The way he cut off the ring in this fight, man, I'd love to see the fight over fight improvement. I'm telling you, it seems like he's taking the fight game more seriously now at 33, more than he ever has. David's guard wasn't necessarily as high as it was in the first fight, and they had moments of getting it broken by Fisher. Fisher was breaking it with uppercuts and straight shots. But after in round 4, the momentum seemed to shift for Fisher, where Fisher really started to step on Dave Allen himself. It seemed like Dave Allen started to slow down, take a few deep breaths. Like I said, not necessarily great cardio, but he's willing to push through. And in round 5, Allen shifts that momentum right back into his own gears, pushes him back to the ropes, starts stepping on his toes, ripping off left shots to the body. He detonates an overhand right that hurts Fisher, stalks Fisher down, hits him with a sweeping left to the body, overhand right, left uppercut, and overhand right. Fisher prematurely gets up, pushes the referee off of him, and then he lands 2 double left hooks, same side left hooks up top, 2 bangs to the drum to the body, and a left hook up top to finish him out. What an incredible performance. What an incredible finishing sequence by David Allen. The David Allen versus Frazier Clark is the performance I'm kind of going to talk about with Guido Vanilla versus Makhmudov. The speed and the accuracy was giving David Allen fits all night from Frazier Clark. I didn't love this performance by Allen whatsoever. The overhand right had plenty of moments by Allen. Again, the sweeping left shot to the body when he got on the inside. And then he had moments every time he'd push Frazier Clark against the ropes. He had a hard time cutting the ring off in this fight, stalking him. He continuously complained to the ref early and often. Frazier Clark had 2 points taken away for low blows. A lot of people thought this fight should have been disqualification. I'm on the other end. I only thought 1 point should have been taken, and I thought David Allen was complaining far too much, looking not for a way out per se, but I mean, he quit on the stool due to a perforated eardrum, I believe they said. I mean, I thought he wanted a way out of this fight, and I thought he was just really flustered through this. He had some tough, gritty moments because I had thought he could have been stopped a little bit earlier in those fights because I thought some of those low blows really were just good body shots, man. So that could be contradicting to say he had tough and gritty moments when he was complaining the whole time. This fight was just interesting to me. Did Dave complain too much? Did Clark deserve the DQ? Is it a write-off fight? Possibly. It happened quite a bit ago, and David Allen is taking the fight game far more seriously, like I've stated multiple times before. So I'm going to call it a write-off fight and a dodgy fight, and then we're going to talk about what I like about David Allen, what I dislike about him. So what do I like about David Allen? I like the sweeping shots to the body. I like how his footwork has improved fight over fight. He's tough. He's gritty. He seems hard to hurt. Like, he doesn't seem to get hurt by many shots. He takes a lot of pop off the shots with his head movements and the way that he leans off of them. Has some slight hand fighting to him. He has a good overhand right too as well that has some pop to it. He comes forward marauding style. What do I dislike about him? I think in this fight specifically, he's too willing to circle into somebody's right hand, especially someone like Arslanbek, who has such a powerful right hand. I don't think his cardio is great. It's not as dog shit as Makhmudov's is, but it's not great. It's not nothing you're going to write home about. I don't think he's the most technically skilled boxer, and I think the way that he wins is a lot of gritty and veteran style tactics. I don't think he's the bigger puncher in this fight either. So ultimately, how do I see this fight going? I think if you're planning on betting Makhmudov, the way you bet Makhmudov is rounds 1 through 4 because he has that puncher's chance and he has a way to obliterate any fighter that he steps into the ring to. But if he's going to do it, he's going to do it early and often because he doesn't have the gas to do it later. But the way I see this fight going is I'm hoping David Allen does not circle into the right hand. He implements a game plan where he completely circles away from the right hand, pops at the body, moves laterally for the first 2 rounds. And then after rounds 2, he starts landing that beautiful sweeping left to the body, stab jabs to the body, eventually clipping him with an overhand right. And he gets Makhmudov out of there via knockout. I ultimately like David Allen to get this fight done, but there are a lot of variables to take into it. And by a lot, I guess I should say there's 4 rounds of variables. That's rounds 1 through 4. Does Makhmudov get him out of there early? I really like David Allen, guys. I like David Allen's money line a lot. I've already put 3.1 units on it. I also have 3.2 units on it. And I also have 0.8 of a unit on David Allen by knockout. David Allen, I got him at BetMGM at plus 100. I got him by knockout at plus 160 on BetMGM too as well. I really like this play, guys. I'm going to take the guy that I think is far more skilled. I think Johnny Fisher is a far better fighter than Makhmudov as well. And the fact that David Allen was able to handle him 2 fights in a row, in my personal opinion, I'm going to take him all day, any day of the week. I think David Allen is defensively savvy enough, has good enough hand fighting, good enough at taking enough off the shots to stay safe for 3 rounds, where I think Makhmudov is undoubtedly going to gas after 3 rounds, won't have the feet to keep up with David Allen. And the minute David Allen starts going forward on him, it's going to be a bad night for Makhmudov. So I love Makhmudov here to get knocked out, plus 160 on BetMGM, David Allen, plus 100 money line. Can I give you guys one bet that I think is an insanely lined bet? Round 7 through 12 for David Allen on FanDuel is plus 700. You best fucking believe I'm going to stab the plus 700, 7 through 12 on FanDuel for David Allen. I think Makhmudov has just enough cardio to eke it past 6 rounds and then get stopped around 7 and 8. So give me David Allen. Give me David Allen's money line. Giving him by knockout. Give me him 7 through 12. I'm feeling a little under the weather, so I apologize for any, discrepancies in my voice and or cuts from the sound. With that being said, y'all, it's love, it's peace, it's chicken grease. See y'all next time.